Welcome to our all Cherag Zoom that this time is hosted by myself. I'm Sarah, and Najat is in Las Vegas, Nevada. And the two of us will be going back and forth, facilitating, leading practices, sharing teachings, and we'll have a breakout period for conversation in smaller groups as part of our time together. So let's begin with the invocation. And while I say it in English, you're welcome to say it in whatever language feels most resonant and useful for your own heart. Toward the One, the perfection of love, harmony, and beauty, the only being, united with all the illuminated souls who form the embodiment of the Master, the Spirit of guidance. Amen. So I have my beloved Rahima is with me today. I'm very blessed and very grateful. And we're going to sing a little bit to get us started because we are Ruhaniyat Cherags, and that's how we do. So the theme for our meeting today is sincerity. And in my understanding and experience, the greatest way to achieve sincerity is to be empty of the small s self, making room for the authentic living presence of God to arise and move through us. So we'll do a zikr practice that can help us be free from the limited self and open to the unlimited. La ilaha illallah, hu Allah, Allah. La ilaha illallah, hu Allah, Allah. La ilaha illallah, hu Allah, Allah. La ilaha illallah, And we'll continue as a fikr, exhaling la ilaha, inhaling il Allahu, exhaling la ilaha, inhaling il Allahu. And continuing that exhaling and inhaling fikr practice forever and ever, because Piro Murshid Hazrat Inayat Khan said that's the only important thing to do. It's the only virtue. It's the only aim. So when we do that, we continue to empty out this small s self and to welcome in the strength, the inspiration, the spirit of guidance, so that we can be stable and grounded, tuned to source, receptive, so that when we offer our blessings, when we offer our service, when we're in front of other precious human beings, facilitating a universal worship service or a rite of passage, a memorial service, a wedding, a welcoming of a new child, any of these things, that we are moving through the grace of God with the strength of the divine, with that guiding light, as free as possible of ego motives, which are fickle and fleeting. Okay, friends. So I have a short reading for you before we move over to Las Vegas, Nevada. So this is from the supplementary papers of Piro Murshid Inayat Khan, sometimes called the Dutch papers. Please remember that truth is the share of the sincerest. The more sincerity is developed, the greater share of truth you will have. And however much sincerity a person may have, there is always a gap to fill, for we live in the midst of falsehood, and we are always apt to be carried away by this world of falsehood. Therefore, we must never think we are sincere enough. And we must always be on our guard against influences which may carry us away from that sincerity, which is the bridge between ourselves and our ideal. No study, no meditation is more helpful than sincerity itself. Okay, looking forward to hearing from Najat.
Wow, that was a beautiful reading. I don't think I've ever seen those papers. But today's bowl of sake, Friday, March 19th, in the words of Hazrat Inayat Khan, sincere devotees know best how to humble themselves before God. And the commentary of Murshid Samuel Lewis as follows. Sincerity is spiritual humility. No one can say, I am humble, for any expression I am precludes humility. Humility says, thou art, and it does not qualify or posit anything. It loses itself by itself. I thought that was pretty interesting that on the date we scheduled as the bowl of sake starts with the word sincere. I wanted to read one other thing, and then we'll do a practice. I'm reading from Inayat Answers by Elizabeth de Jong Keesing, published in 1977. She's one of the European Sufis. These are the words of Hazrat Inayat Khan. The important thing is sincerity. There are no fixed rules to follow on this path. For every person, there is a special rule. But there is one law which applies to everything in life. Sincerity, which is the only thing that is asked by a teacher of a pupil, for truth is not the portion of the insincere. This is excerpted from volume 10 of the Sufi Message. I believe it's from the Path of Initiation and Discipleship. I'd like us to recite 11 times, Ya Fazl. Fazl is not one of the 99 names as we know it. However, it is sometimes given as a practice. It was given to me by Pir Moinadine many years ago. Fazl means grace or virtue. So please join me. It's spelled F-A-Z-L. Ya Fazl. Ya Fazl. Ya Fazl. Ya Fazl. Into the heart. Ya Fazl. 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 Breathing in Fazl, breathing out Fazl. Feel the softening of the heart that the A and Z sounds bring to one's consciousness. This is a good practice for preparing oneself before doing a service. Amen. Another short reading from the Bowl of Saki. This one was from January 28th. Hazrat Inayat Khan says, sincerity is the jewel that forms in the shell of the heart. Murshid Sam's commentary is as follows. This being a condition of the heart, mind cannot grasp it. It is one of those truths which have to be posited without being explained. To test it in one way is to enter Darood, or better yet, Fikr, and to breathe concentrating on sincerity. You will find it in the heart. Or concentrate on the heart as you breathe, and you will find sincerity at its very core. So I'd like to do this practice that Murshid Sam recommends. Let's use Darood, breathing in toward the one, breathing out toward the one, concentrating on the quality of sincerity. And now let's change that to the fikr, exhaling la ilaha, inhaling illallahu. Last time. Amen. When we were first planning on this, I had an inspiration one day that sincerity is a recipe for authenticity and integrity. Sincerity is foundational for authenticity and integrity. And I wrote this ridiculous metaphor about baking bread being a metaphor for our work. Yes, like many people, I've spent the last 12 months in the house baking a lot of bread. So I just want to say, I came to the conclusion that sincerity is the yeast of integrity. That proofing the yeast is like the quickening of the heart, watching those little yeasty beasties come alive in their warm bath, wiggling and bubbling, is like the songs we offer in praise. I won't go on, it kind of deteriorated after that, but that's all I have for opening practices before we break out into individual groups to discuss a couple of topics we'd like to offer today. Sarah, are we ready to suggest what our topics for conversation are? Okay, Sarah will be breaking us out into two groups, I guess. And our topics are, how have you cultivated sincerity in your work as a Cherag? And what practices help you develop and maintain strength and humility on the path? Because sincerity is humble and authentic attunement to the teachings. integrity of presence, showing up fully in honorable service. I see it's in the chat. I'm going to mute myself now. If Sarah's ready to break us up into two groups.
Okay, friends. So I think that I've gotten us pre-assigned into roughly equal groups, and Najat will be with one of the groups and I'll be with the other. And so the questions and the summary about sincerity will be in the chat window, so you can refer back to them. And so we'll have 30 minutes in breakout groups. We'll be, share and share alike. Make sure we listen to each other attentively and, interrupting, and you know how to be good citizens in a conversation with a group of other people, right? Okay. All right. Have a good time. We'll see you back here in 30 minutes. So welcome back. We have some more practices to do and some more readings to share. This one is from volume 4, The Sufi Messages of Piro Murshid Inayat Khan. It is the power of truth that makes one stronger. Apart from those who know truth, even those who do not know truth, if they think rightly, will have some power. The power of sincerity. Very few realize what power sincerity carries. A person who is false, however physically strong, or however great that person's willpower, is kept down by falsehood. It never allows one to rise. It eats one because it is rust. Those who have done great things in life, in whatever walk of life it be, have done them by the power of truth, the power of sincerity, of earnestness, of conviction. When that is lacking, power is lacking. So as Cherags on the way toward ordination, we are given lots of ways of attuning to the message, the words, the vibration, the intentions, and the guidance of Piro Murshid Inayat Khan, and also of Murshid Sam. That I'm guessing that most of you, probably, maybe all of you, have read through Murshid Sam's bestowing of blessings and Piro Murshid Inayat Khan's religious ideals and the religious Gothikas, that are lots of perspectives about tolerance and inclusivity and self-mastery and the stages on the path, and what the real purpose is, not just of the Sufi path, but of the role of the Cherag, of the person who is empowered to offer blessings from the pulpit, as it were, the dais, the stage, the microphone, the altar, to be able to offer oneself as a vessel, as the channel to receive the power and magnetism of the blessings of the divine and to pour them forth for the benefit of the community, of the individuals and the collective in the community. And so one of the practices that I had on my list to share today, and that one of our dear friends shared in our breakout group, is one that I think all of you are familiar with. And I'm not going to do it as a full prostration right now because it'll be awkward on the Zoom to move it around so that you can see me, but I'm going to do a symbolic version of it and invite you to join me, where we start by saying, Ya Allah. And then while bowing, we'll say the phrase, I surrender to thee and to thee alone. And we'll take a moment there, just emptying out, pouring out this small self, the finite, limited self, allowing ourselves to be open, receptive, clear channels. And then when we rise, we say, and thou dost raise me spiritually. Ya Allah, I surrender to thee and to thee alone. And thou dost raise me spiritually. Ya Allah, I surrender to thee and to thee alone. And thou dost raise me spiritually. Ya Allah, I surrender to thee and to thee alone. And thou dost raise me spiritually. Ya Allah, I surrender to thee and to thee alone. And thou dost raise me spiritually. Ya Allah, I surrender to thee and to thee alone. And thou dost raise me spiritually. One more time. Ya Allah, I surrender to thee and to thee alone. And thou dost raise me spiritually. On the theme of sincerity, it feels important to remember that sincerity is rooted in humility, in the emptiness of self and the softness of the ego. And it feels like a little bit of a conundrum that we are really charged as Cherags to be willing to be seen, to be willing to be heard, to be willing to step forward and step up and hold where in a practice that Najat brought in one of our previous Zooms, to wear the mantle. That is the responsibility. That is the sense of purpose. Piro Murshid Inayat Khan was very clear and very directive when he was training Cherags and telling Cherags that they needed to be willing and assertive about being seen, to offer their services, and to have great confidence that it was their purpose to be heard and to be seen. to carry the message for the benefit of humanity. That it doesn't do us any good to be Cherags if we stay at home, quiet, unseen, unheard. That we have to be willing to put ourselves out there and to keep the nafs in check, to keep tabs on our motives and the realities of our own beings. So along these lines in the Sufi path, we're given lots of relentless instructions, lovingly relentless instructions on the path of fana fi sheikh. We'll start with the fana fi sheikh. That is being willing to surrender our own sense of limited self into the loving regard, respect, and the living presence of the teacher. That is a tremendous blessing, a tremendous privilege, and in my experience, a tremendous joy on this path, where if we're not sure where our own ego motives are, and if we're feeling bogged down in the humility, or if we're feeling uncertain about the arrogance or the narcissistic tendencies, which are natural and human, then we can attune to our own living teachers and invite the atmosphere of our living teachers to be the guiding presence, the strength and sustenance and stability that leads each of our footsteps up to the pulpit. And we have the great blessing to have living teachers. So if we're not sure, we can call our teachers and say, I would like to do this, and is that okay? And can you help me discern where my ego motives might be in this? And our teachers love us and are always pouring forth blessings for us. And hopefully our teachers are delighted to hear from us and delighted to know that we want to be in our greatest integrity, that we want to be humble and also strong, that we want to be showing up in our most honorable and most effective magnetism. So I love that I get to take advantage of that, and I hope that each of you feel that blessing, that privilege, and that instruction as well. So let's see. I think I have about 5 minutes left before we're going to send it back to Najat. And I'd like to invite the practice of a tasawwuri as a brief form of attunement. That there is a little bit, it's subtle, and sometimes we confuse these things of fana and tasawwuri. That fana is really the emptying of the self. That we can define fana as annihilation or dissolving, emptying. That's a getting rid of the self in with a focused intention on something else. And tasawwuri is more like the mantle that Najat was talking about before, that is putting on the manner of. It is inviting and adopting and wrapping ourselves in the atmosphere that we choose. And I find in my own practice of a tasawwuri meditation that I focus on Piro Murshid Khan. And so it doesn't have to be a still living embodied teacher. That is an ongoing atmosphere that I can invite to surround me and support me. So let's take a couple of minutes to rest in our own natural breath rhythm, and just feeling what is already present for you in your breath. And then into your own natural breath rhythm, invite the atmosphere of an illuminated being, a teacher, a guide, a prophet of your choice, someone that you feel a strong resonance with, that you feel that their atmosphere, the rhythm of their breath would be supportive and nourishing for you. And with the inhalation, draw that atmosphere, that invitation into your own heart, into your own body. I often do this practice as a visualization practice, imagining the image of the teacher in front of me. But for right now, I feel like the focus on the breath is adequate. So you can direct your attention in whatever way is useful and powerful for you. And while breathing in the atmosphere of this great being, esteemed teacher, prophet, whoever it is that you're attuning to, you might feel the particular qualities of blessing that they are pouring forth for you, the encouragement, the discerning wisdom, and also the clarity of purpose. And then finally, we'll take a moment to set an intention to ask that the energy and the inspiration, the spirit of guidance that naturally rises and makes itself known within us, we can set an intention for that to be a welcoming atmosphere to invite the ongoing presence of this great being, this teacher, this prophet. To invite a deliberate alignment, a weaving together of our own energy, strength, enthusiasm, humility, softness, receptivity of heart, and to weave that together with the blessings, the encouragement, and guidance of these great beings. Amen. So I believe our friend Najat is going to be wrapping up our Zoom time. So is that true, Najat? Are you ready for us, friend?
Shall I wrap it up in holiday paper? Sorry. Pun intended. I wanted to read a couple little things from the complete sayings of Hazrat Inayat Khan, and then do a practice. This one came from the Gayan. A sincere feeling of respect needs no words. Even silence can speak of one's respectful attitude. And this is from the bowl of sake for April 11th. It does not matter in what way a person offers his respect and his reverence to the deity he worships. It matters only how sincere he is in his offering. And to me, that's the heart of our services when we present them. It only matters how sincere he is in his offering. So let's take a few breaths. To feel that connection between sincerity and whatever it is that we're offering in whatever form we're bringing to our communities in our services, whether that be a ministerial function or performing, bringing out a particular service. I want to offer one closing wazifa. There is no specific wazifa for sincerity, but I like this wazifa. Ya Muhmin. That's spelled M-U apostrophe for the glottal stop, M-I-N. Ya Muhmin. The giver of tranquility. So say this with me, dear friends. Ya Muhmin. 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 Breathing in Muhmin, breathing out Muhmin. With this practice, we can bring ourselves into tranquility so that we may communicate that same tranquility to those around us for whom we're providing whatever service is called for. That's all I have for today.
Thank you, Najat. How about if I do a couple of closing announcements, and then would you like to finish with a blessing for us? I think you said sure. You're muted again, so I'm not confident about that. Okay, excellent. So thank you, friends. It is such a treasure to be with each of you on these Zooms. We're going to continue doing quarterly all Cherag Zooms, and each time I set a time and a date. I do check with the Siraj Circle to see who wants to help with it and what timing works, and then whoever is available and wants to help with it from our Siraj Circle is invited to help facilitate things. But either way, I'm here all the time, and I'm dedicated to continuing it on as a quarterly all Cherag Zoom. So our next one will be in June. I'm not exactly sure of the dates, but we've been aiming them around the solstices and equinoxes. So it'll be in June, somewhere close to the solstice, and it'll be at a different time of day. So it'll be in the morning for us and in the evening for Europe. And I apologize that the New Zealand and Australia friends will have to be up at a very unreasonable hour to participate live time. So we'll do a couple of those and then move back to this time frame again. So you all are very welcome to send me topic suggestions, things that are up for you in your Cheragging work that you would like for the Sirajas to address in these all Cherag Zooms. And we welcome your input and would like for these quarterly opportunities to be a support to you, for us to be able to offer some resources, suggestions, and an opportunity to be together. So thank you for tuning in. I think that's it for me. So Najat, if you'd like to close with whatever kind of blessing feels useful and yummy for you, we welcome whatever you.
Everybody unmute. I like to do something that Joe Miller gave us, one of our honorary Murshids. So we're going to do this together. Unmute, please. Everybody?
Great.
Okay, now we got everybody. We're going to say, may all beings
be
well. May all beings be happy. Peace. Peace.
Okay, friends. Thank you so much. Thank you, Najat. I look forward to
Thank you.
next time.
Nice to see everybody. Thank